All right, so welcome back. Today in this video, we're going to be going through some areas that you will need to pay close attention to as you're studying for your Civil FE. And so we're going to dive into some important formulas that I think you should really kind of look at and make sure you know how to use. So to start, you want to be in the most up-to-date reference handbook. And this for this video is 10.4, but they update these, and so you want to make sure that you have the most up-to-date version, which can be found on the NCEES website. So the quickest way to, I guess, navigate this is to click over to your bookmarks and hit FE exam specifications, and then for us, we're going to be looking specifically at the civil section. So you can just click civil. And so it lays out our specifications. So we're going to be focusing on some areas that you need to know for analytic geometry in this video. So for analytic geometry, there's a few sections that I like, or you really need to pay close attention to. The first one being conic sections. So if you want to search this, is conic sections or conic sections. The main thing here is you can literally search this within your handbook. So I'm just going to search conic. All right, and this is kind of the area that we want to be in. All right, it's under mathematics. So there's a few different cases that we want to look at. All right, and the reason why we're kind of diving into this is because on the test, they're going to give you equations of different types of shapes. So you have a few different cases here. So you're going to have the first one being the parabola, where E is equal to 1. What is E? E represents eccentricity. So you want to know that, which they may or may not, ask you to solve for that, or it could be a conceptual question about, hey, what's the eccentricity of a parabola? You need to know that it is 1, right? A parabola creates this kind of shape that follows, my arrow. And if they give you an equation, the equation will look something like this, right? Where they're defining what the equation would be. So you would have y minus a number squared is equal to 2p. What is p? P looks like some sort of focus, p divided by 2. So it looks like P is some sort of distance along this parabola. And then you have x minus h, which is just another number along this. So as you can tell, the center, and it's not just another number, h represents the x coordinate of this parabola, and then k represents the y center of this parabola. So just important things to kind of note of what you're looking at. So this is generally what parabola looks like. If you get the equation of an ellipse, it's going to look different, right? Your eccentricity is going to be less than 1, and the equation in standard form is going to look more like what I've highlighted, where h and k are still the center, but you're going to have b, which is pretty much the height of the ellipse, right? And then, well, it's not the total height, but it's from the x. From the x, it is half of the height of this ellipse, right? And a is going to be in the x direction, right? So just important things to note. This is how it's going to be shown. And they give you a number within here you can solve. They give you, the distance. They'll give you some points along this ellipse and make you solve for the eccentricity. So you'll need to, substitute these letters for numbers, right? All right. So you also have another case where you have a hyperbola. So similar idea, the equation of a hyperbola is here. And similar items, you have where your center is H and K here. And in the equation, there is going to be, it probably will be laid out somewhat like this. It may not look exactly like it, but it'll look similar. Hey guys, if you are currently studying for your Civil FE exam and you are wanting to pass faster, then you may want to check out the Civil FE Review Guide and FE Domination course that I've created. It is time saving. It's really going to save you a lot of time as far as finding practice problems, understanding how to navigate the handbook, really saving you, time as far as trying to figure out what exactly is going to be on this test. And so I go through it all in that review guide and course. And so if you would find that helpful for you, all you have to do is click down in the description box below and download it now. All right, let's get back into the video. All right. We also have that eccentricity is greater than 1. So those are important things to kind of note. The most popular case is going to be your circle, which they're going to give you an equation and they may ask you to solve for the radius of the circle or the center of the circle. This is the most popular one, but some people get thrown off because they give them an equation of a hyperbola or an ellipse or a parabola. So you just want to make note of these, noting that, the square root of all of this stuff is equal to your radius. They can give you this in a few different ways. So you want to know that H is just the X coordinate and K is the Y coordinate. And if you have H and K, it's the center of your circle. So those are important things to note for conic sections. We also have perpendicular lines. So they may give you a equation where they ask you to solve for the line that is perpendicular to it. So we can just do a kind of a search for perpendicular. It's the next thing that comes up, but it's under mathematics. So these are things that we just want to pay attention to. So we have different, and any of this is kind of fair game. This is a 502 page document. It's a 502 page reference manual. But you have different forms of a line. So all this is kind of from, or you would have learned this back maybe in high school. There is like a buildup of stuff, right? But you got general form, a standard form of an equation. We got point slope form. And so these are, I'll go through the standard form where y is equal to mx plus b. It's a pretty popular equation where your m is going to be the slope. Your x is just a point along that line. Your y is a point along that line. And then b is also, it's not a point along the line, but it's just a number that defines your equation. So you also have point slope form where you have a y minus your y1 is equal to the slope times x minus x1. So what they may do is they could ask you to put a certain equation in a point slope form, and they give you maybe a point. So they give you y1 and x1, and you need to find maybe the slope of it or whatever the case is. So if you want to find lines that are perpendicular, which is what I initially brought up, right? Then for one if you can find and determine the slope of one line, so they will give you the equation of one line, right? It will have a slope, and so if you can determine that slope, then to get the line, or to determine the line that is perpendicular to it, then you're going to need to take the negative inverse of that particular slope. So that means if your slope is 5 for one line, and that means -1/5 would be the slope of your line that is perpendicular to it. So hopefully that makes sense. You also have the distance between two points. So you can, if you have 2 points, you can plug them in and get the distance between the two using y2 and y. It's pretty self-explanatory, but you got to plug those points in to be able to get that distance. Going back to your 2 lines that are perpendicular, you can find 2 lines that are parallel. If they are parallel, they just have the same slope. So just important to kind of remember. And I think those were the main things for this section. So in some of the videos to follow, we'll do some practice or some examples with this. But yeah, these are the main kind of things. I think there's some, you can kind of glance through this entire mathematics section if you would like. You may have to find, use the quadratic equations, but that's in another section. So these are the main pieces for analytic geometry. So hopefully this is helpful. If it was, leave a, or if you have questions, leave a comment, and I will see you in the next video.